Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Hey everyone, welcome to another video. It's Simon Hurley from Inkclips. I hope you guys are all having a great Christmas season. I just wanted to stop by quickly to post a card making life hacks video and share a couple of really fun tips and techniques with you guys. I didn't get to use everything that I wanted to this Christmas season, so I included some really awesome stamps from Clair in today's video. These are some really good Christian Christmas stamps, and they make some really awesome stamps for all year as well. So I'll leave links down below to some of the stamps that I used and really enjoyed using, and you'll probably see more of these in next year's Christmas cards as well. Okay, so for the first hack, I wanted to share a fun and easy way to create your own marker to use to blend your colored pencils. Now I know a lot of people use GAMSOL and paper stumps, and I'm going to show you a little bit of a rendition of that today, just because I kind of struggled with the paper stumps and wanted a method that was even quicker and easier. So this just helps you blend your colored pencils together really easily. So this is the alcohol ink blending pen. This comes empty and it's usually used with alcohol inks and blending solution. However, I kind of like both of the nibs on it, and I'm going to be filling this with GAMSOL today. So I'm taking off this brush end nib, which comes out really nice and easy, and then I can set that up to the side for later. And I'll be taking this GAMSOL from Inky Antics. Now I like this bottle specifically because it has this top on it, so you can use it with the paper stumps if you decide. But I'm just going to take that top off for now so I can get to the liquid inside. So I'll just pop it right off, and you can add that on later. Now this is kind of toxic, so you want to be sure you're in a well-ventilated area when putting it into the marker. And then I'm taking a little syringe, lifting some of the liquid out of there, and I'll apply it right into the marker where that brush nib was replaced. Now you want to add a little bit more than I'm showing here because I did it off screen as well. But after you do this, you just want to place back in the brush end nib of your marker, and then you can just set it off to the side with the caps on so that the GAMSOL can kind of sink into both of the nibs and make it usable for when you're coloring. So just set that off to the side, and once you're ready to use it, all you need to do is just scribble on some colored pencil and make it darker where you want it to be most blended, but it doesn't have to be really well and smooth colored on there. And then you can take whichever nib of your marker you just created with that GAMSOL, and it really does blend that colored pencil together. You just need to run it over the colored pencil, and you get that really smooth colored effect, and I love how it turned out. Now this is super simple. Once you're done, it might have a little bit of a stained nib. You just go off to the side of the paper and scribble it out so that it's clear again, and some of it might stain just a tiny bit. And then also that brush nib in the marker I find to be really useful to get some bigger areas. So this is a really great way to make it even easier to color with this, and I really like the results and how simple it is to clean out the marker. So then I'm going to share how to do some ombre blended stamping with both MISTI and without one as well if you don't have a stamping tool. So I'm starting off by inking up this tree image from Clair with a mini ink pad, and I find it helpful for that mini ink pad just so you can avoid things like the star at the top when you want to ink it up with a different color. And then I'm going in with a darker green color here, and this is how we're going to create our ombre. So I'm using this sponge. This one happens to be from Nuvo, and I like it just because it has that point at the end. So again, it's really great for the control and avoiding things like the star at the top. And I'm just going to dab on some ink around the outside, and this makes it so that when you stamp it again, it kind of creates that ombre since you're not just going on with the square edge of your ink pad. So I'm just going to keep adding this on in layers, and it will keep darkening up the edge of that image. And if you just keep applying your ink until you're satisfied with it, you get that really cool ombre, and you can even go back with the light green ink as well. Now, like I said, these mini ink pads really help, and I'm just going to apply some yellow to the top of the star, and that creates the stamped image. So there you get that really fun ombre look, and it's really nice and dark on there as well. Now, if you want to do it without a stamping tool, it's pretty simple as well. So I'm just taking that stamp again and these same ink pads. So I'll start off with the lighter color there, and then I'm going to go in with this darker ink pad. and I'm just going to rock around. I'm not going to do it with a sponge this time, just because it's easier to get more color on there with just the ink pad. Now you might get some jagged edges, so just be careful. You kind of want to roll it on the edge, and then I'll get that little yellow star at the top. So basically you're just doing everything all at once, and you don't get as bold of an image, I'd say, but I still think you get great results for not having a stamping tool. Now sometimes there are stamp sets that I just want to stamp all together and color the full set without having to stamp them each individually with an acrylic block and put them back in the set. So this hack shares how to stamp a full stamp set at one time in your MISTI. Now I'm going to take the stamp set with the backing off there, and I'll apply that to the top lid of my MISTI right around those grids, so I know it's going to stamp right in the corner. And then I'm taking some delicate frog tape here, just a low tack adhesive, and I'm going to just tape that on the top and the bottom of the acetate piece of the stamp set. And this makes it so that it attaches it onto my MISTI here, and all I have to do is just ink up all the images at once, and then I can stamp them all down at once into the MISTI. So this makes it super nice and easy. I just have a big piece of cardstock here, give it nice good pressure, and then it all stamps all at once, and you get every single image from the set. This one happens to be a set from Clair, and it's got that full manger scene in it, so you can create your own. I really love it, and I'll have the links down below. So that stamps the full set, and then I'm going to line it up again if you need to, and you can stamp it all over again, so you can keep using this same set if you're mass producing cards, or if you just want to color it a couple times or fix any mistakes. And then to clean the stamp set, I'm just going to spray some stamp cleaner and just wipe it right over top of all the images. And all you have to do is take this off, put the acetate sheet back on, and store it back, and you don't have to go through the whole hassle. In the next hack, I'm going to share how to create your own watercolor with Nuvo mousse, and it kind of gives a shimmery effect as well. Recently, I've been playing around with these Nuvo embellishment mousses, and they're super fun and versatile. Now for this first hack here, I'm just sharing how to create a watercolor with it. So I'm applying some of it to my palette here. You only need a little bit of it to go a long way. And then I'll take my water brush and soften it all up, and it kind of disintegrates with the water there, so there's not those big chunks anymore. So once you get all those little chunks disintegrated with the water, you can move it over to the watercolor paper. And it doesn't perform like a usual watercolor, but I do kind of like it. It's almost like a paint-like substance because it's got all that shimmer inside of it and all that color and pigment. And once your watercolor piece is dry, it turns out really shimmery, and it's super stunning to see all that metallic in there that's mixed in. And there's lots of colors to choose from as well, so you get a whole wide variety. Now because there's so much shimmer and pigment in these, I like to make sure that my image is clear heat embossed over top of black ink before I watercolor so that it doesn't affect the lines. And here is this mother of pearl color. Now I did the same thing with this, making sure that it's nice and disintegrated with the water. And once you start watercoloring this on, it just leaves that really nice shimmer behind, but it also leaves kind of a cool pearly tint. So I'm adding it over top of the image where I want it to be the most kind of shadows, I guess. And then I'm just going to fill the rest in with a little bit of that shimmer, and you get that really awesome shine with that pearly effect as well. And I really love watercoloring with these, and I've been experimenting with them a lot lately. Now sticking with the same bandwagon, I'm going to share how to create the accented paper or background with your Nuvo mousse. Now I'm using this specialty paper from Tonic, which is like this embossed, raised, and textured paper. It's really stunning, and whenever I use it on a card, people always comment on it and love it. Now I don't use lots of pattern papers on the cards, but this stuff is definitely different. It just kind of fits in with your handmade feel of your cards, and you can really alter it as well since it's this handcrafted paper. So all you need to do to accent your little papers here is just take some of that colored Nuvo mousse in whatever colors you would like and just add it onto the paper and kind of rub it into the little cracks there. Now for this one, I'm just coloring the whole piece of paper, but I'll show you an example in a second where you just accent it a little bit. So it's actually recommended to do this with a sponge so you keep the bacteria from your fingers out of the pots. So I would recommend to do that instead of dipping your finger in like I'm doing here. But I'm just applying the color on in little sections, and it just adds this little tint of color on top. And once it's all dry, it's completely permanent on top of this piece of paper, so you don't have to worry about any of it rubbing off either, but it gives it that nice color and shine, and I think it looks really cool, so you can make it to match any one of your projects here. So you can really see how beautiful it is when you tilt it in the light there, and how textured that paper really is. Now this stuff, this Nuvo mousse, also comes in some really awesome gold and silver and metallic colors, and I'm just taking a tiny bit on the tip of my finger and just rubbing it on top of the surface so it doesn't get in any of those little cracks, but just highlights and accents the really embossed raised pieces. So I think this turned out really awesome as well, and like I said, you can use whatever colors you want to just accent your projects and really get even more use out of this Nuvo paper. And with this stuff, the possibilities are really endless with this paper, and you don't use a ton of it at once. So now I'm going to be showing how to color this Nuvo mousse as well, just as a last tip here. So sometimes you are using like a distress oxide, let's say, and you're using it throughout your project and you want it to match your paste or your mousse here. So I'm taking this mother of pearl color, which still has that awesome pearly shine, so that's another bonus. And I'm just going to apply it onto the craft sheet with that distress oxide, and just make sure it's nice and mixed in till you get a smooth color that you want to match your project. Now I really like doing this just like I said so you can match your project, because Nuvo does have a ton of colors you can use, but if you want a really personal color, you can mix it with whatever ink you're using. And then I'm just going to spread it onto the piece of paper here, and you get that really fun metallic and shimmery look along with your color that you just created, which I think is really awesome as well, and you can spread this stuff through a stencil. What'd you guys think? I hope you really liked that video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. I really appreciate that. And there's also a little subscribe button down there. If you click that, you'll get all the notifications from my channel. And if you click the little bell icon next to it, you'll get notified every time I post a video. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you all in the new year.